Hello, my little sleepyhead. Are you ready for a wonderful story? Snuggle down deep into your cozy bed, close your eyes, and let's travel to a magical kingdom, far, far away. This is the story of a beautiful princess named Aurora, but you might know her better as Sleeping Beauty. Once upon a time, in a land filled with sunshine and laughter, a kind king and queen celebrated the birth of their precious daughter, Aurora. They threw a magnificent party and invited everyone in the kingdom, including the wise and gentle fairies. Each fairy came to bestow a special gift upon the baby princess. The first fairy gifted her with beauty so that everyone who saw her would be filled with joy. The second fairy gifted her with a beautiful voice, so her songs would be as lovely as a nightingale's. One by one, the good fairies gave their gifts. But just as the last fairy was about to step forward, the castle doors burst open with a crash of thunder. A dark and shadowy figure stood in the doorway. It was Maleficent, the evil fairy, who was furious she hadn't been invited. With a wicked smile, she pointed a long, bony finger at the cradle. "I have a gift for the princess, too," she cackled. On her 16th birthday, she will prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel and fall into a deep, endless sleep. Everyone gasped in horror. The king and queen begged her to take back the curse, but Maleficent only laughed and vanished in a puff of green smoke. The whole castle was filled with sorrow. But then the last good fairy, who had not yet given her gift, stepped forward. "I cannot undo this evil spell completely," she said gently, "but I can change it. The princess will not be lost forever. Instead of an endless sleep, she will fall into a deep slumber, only to be awakened by true love's first kiss." Though they were still worried, the king and queen were grateful. To protect his daughter, the king ordered every spinning wheel in the kingdom to be gathered and burned. Not a single one was to be left. He hoped this would keep Aurora safe from the terrible curse. To keep her even safer, the good fairies decided to hide the princess away. They disguised themselves as simple peasant women and took baby Aurora to a tiny, hidden cottage deep in the forest. There they raised her as their own, calling her Briar Rose. They never told her she was a princess, all to protect her from Maleficent's curse. Briar Rose grew up surrounded by the beauty of the forest. She was kind and gentle, and all the animals were her friends. She had a heart full of sunshine and a voice that made the birds sing along with her. She spent her days exploring the woods, picking berries and dancing with the squirrels and rabbits. She didn't know about her royal life or the dark curse that awaited her. She was simply happy, living a simple life with the three women she believed were her aunts. As the years passed, the day of her 16th birthday grew closer and closer. The fairies were getting nervous. On the morning of her birthday, they sent Briar Rose out to pick berries so they could prepare a surprise party for her. While she was gone, they tried to bake a cake and sew a dress using magic, but they were a bit out of practice, and things got very messy. Meanwhile, out in the forest, Briar Rose was singing a beautiful song. Her lovely voice drifted through the trees and reached the ears of a handsome young man who was riding his horse nearby. It was Prince Philip, and he was completely enchanted by the sound. He followed the music until he found Briar Rose, dancing with her animal friends. When they saw each other, it felt like they had known each other forever. They danced and talked, and before they parted, they promised to meet again that very evening at her cottage. Briar Rose's heart was fluttering with happiness. She had met the man of her dreams. When she returned to the cottage, the fairies had finally managed to make her a beautiful dress and cake. They wished her a happy birthday and then, with heavy hearts, told her the truth. They told her that she was not Briar Rose, but Princess Aurora, and that she was already promised to marry a prince. They explained that she had to return to the castle that very day. Aurora was heartbroken. She had just fallen in love with the young man from the forest, and now she was being told she could never see him again. Sadly, she followed the fairies back to the castle she had never known. They led her to a beautiful room to rest before she was presented to the court. Alone and sad, Aurora began to cry. Just then, a strange green light appeared and a mysterious voice called her name. It was Maleficent, finally putting her evil plan into action. In trance, Aurora followed the hypnotizing light up a winding staircase to a hidden, dusty tower room. And there, in the center of the room, stood a spinning wheel. The fairies, realizing what was happening, rushed to find her, but it was too late. Just as they burst into the room, Aurora reached out her hand and touched the sharp spindle. The curse came true. She pricked her finger and fell to the floor, into a deep, enchanted sleep. The fairies were heartbroken. They gently carried the sleeping princess to the most beautiful bed in the castle. To spare the king and queen the pain of seeing their daughter like this, the good fairies cast a gentle spell over the entire kingdom. Everyone in the castle, from the guards and servants to the king and queen themselves, fell into a deep sleep, to awaken only when Aurora did. As the kingdom slept, a thick forest of thorns and brambles grew up around the castle, hiding it from the world. It seemed as if all hope was lost. But remember Prince Philip. He was the man Aurora had met in the woods. He arrived at the cottage that evening, but of course she wasn't there. The good fairies found him and told him everything, that the girl he loved was Princess Aurora, and that she was trapped under a sleeping spell. They knew he was her true love. They armed him with a magical sword of truth and a shield of virtue. Prince Philip rode bravely towards the thorny castle. When Maleficent saw him coming, she was furious. She tried to stop him with all her dark magic, but he fought his way through the terrible wall of thorns. Finally, at the castle gates, Maleficent transformed herself into a gigantic, fearsome dragon that breathed green fire. It was a terrible battle. The dragon was powerful, but Prince Philip was brave. With the help of the fairy's magic, he threw his enchanted sword with all his might. The sword flew straight and true, striking the dragon's heart. With a final roar, the evil Maleficent was defeated forever. Prince Philip rushed into the sleeping castle. He searched until he found the tower where the beautiful princess lay sleeping. He recognized her at once as the girl from the forest. He knelt beside her and ever so gently gave her a kiss. At that moment, the spell was broken. Princess Aurora's eyes fluttered open. She smiled when she saw her prince. As she awoke, the entire kingdom began to stir. The king and queen, the servants, everyone awoke from their long slumber as if from a dream. The thorns around the castle vanished, and sunlight streamed in once again. There was a joyous celebration throughout the land. Princess Aurora was reunited with her loving parents, and she introduced them to Prince Philip, her true love and savior. They were married, and the entire kingdom rejoiced. And just as the story began with love and happiness, so it ended. Princess Aurora and Prince Philip lived happily ever after, their love proving that it is the most powerful magic of all. Now, my little dear, it's time for you to drift off into your own sweet dreams, just like our princess. May your sleep be peaceful and your dreams be filled with magic and happiness. Good night. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed our story tonight, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more magical bedtime stories. We can't wait to share another adventure with you. Sweet dreams.